great shape, and is he ready to go in this bronze medal match, or is he pretty gassed?
Well, it's an interesting dynamic in a lot of the combat sports. Iran are very dominant in many of them. Can ABDVALI dominate here? But one of the strategies is not to lose weight, to just fight at the category that you are, more or less. Some countries, it's a policy to boil down and get yourself a chance by being the bigger person, but it doesn't look like the Iranian body type as if he's cutting too much. He looks pretty neat at that weight.
Absolutely. And with that, a little throw by, takedown. 2 points on the board for Iran, and their low lift right in this position. They control those hips. That was excellent heavy hips by the wrestler from Belarus. So KILOU really dropped his hips hard to the mat.
Yeah, KILOU was in a dangerous position, but I'm just having a little laugh to myself because ABDVALI not only beating KILOU to the punch, so to speak, also doing a bit of refereeing as well. Pushed his opponent down, had a look at the referees as if to say, come on, to have to do your job as well for you.
The Iranians are such good sportsmen to each other. They give a hug and a shake at the end of the match. But when they're in battle, they are every part of the battle.
Absolutely.
They're working the referees, they're working the other coach, they're working the head of their opponent. They're trained. Their dynamic training could be the best in the world.
That's really interesting insight there in terms of how different national teams prepare. Preparing to go further behind now. KILOU in a little bit of trouble halfway through this opening period, but it is that emphasis on, you know, getting up close and personal, lots of sparring, so to speak, working with a partner rather than, you know, too much strength and conditioning or tactical work. If you're always working with people that are as good or better than you, which the Iranians are blessed with, it leads to these great competitors.
And interestingly, they don't start wrestling at a very young age. They do a lot of gymnastics, same with the Russians. They do a lot of gymnastics and a lot of calisthenic and a lot of strength exercises up to the point when their body is prepared to compete. I think there's a lot of countries that go out and compete way too much, way too early.
It's interesting.
And these athletes, I mean, they're going out and rowing boats to get strong. They're going out and doing gymnastics. And that is why their bodies can hold up when they're 23, 25, 30 years old to compete at a world level.
They've got that root strength, and they're calling on it here at the moment. Can KILOU of Belarus try to find something other than himself further behind? It's going to be another passivity warning. The first of two into the last 15 seconds or so. But that innate strength that you've talked about, it's worked so far. And a good close to the round. Saeed Morad ABDVALI streaks ahead here.
As we've seen in other bouts, so a 3-0 lead. That's a lot of points, but it can be done.
Can KILOU do it? He's going to have that minute to think about it.
What a beautiful underhook. He just inside stepped with his left foot, outside stepped with his right foot, and really just threw the arm over top. And I don't think KILOU knew what hit him by the time he was already had given up his back.
Well, it's funny, we talked before about Greco-Roman being all upper body targets, but the footwork there of ABDVALI, getting that round the corner, getting the momentum, and getting himself that score. Can he extend it here? You think he might have to, because KILOU has really got to go forward now.
I think ABDVALI is not afraid of a fight, though.
That's one thing that's guaranteed, stuck on for sure. You make it into the national team of Iran, a powerhouse in wrestling. That aggression and desire to fight is assumed. Is basically there in the nature, and doing a bit of refereeing again. Kills the clock, catches the eye of the ref.
KILOU didn't say anything to the referee, but he was also holding his face. I don't think that it was an intentional headbutt by KILOU, and I'm not saying it was an intentional by ABDVALI either, but they definitely struck foreheads pretty hard.
They did, but interestingly, in terms of body language and fight psychology, the referee on the side of the Iranian is saying, okay, no problem, you're fine. KILOU was dismissed and ignored, and he's still 3 points down here. Still time though. The man from Belarus, can he make his way back into this one?
Another passivity warning and a 1 point on the board for ABDVALI. That uppercut he hits with his right arm going for that underhook. There is a lot of force behind that.
As he forces KILOU down for that little 1 point push out perhaps.
Calling a 1 point step out. In some occasions, since it started inside of the circle and then finished out of bounds, they have in times given that 2. And it was a 2 point takedown. So the referee in the middle called that a 1 point step out. The mat judge and the mat chairman confirmed that it was 2 points.
Well, the trio of judges getting it right and getting it right so far. ABDVALI has that advantage and he's extending it even further. KILOU, well, he doesn't have his problems to see. If he's going to do something, it has to be now, because the Iranian pushing this one into the danger zone now for KILOU. Another warning for the Belarusian.
At times, it can become overkill, though. They're just constantly calling that as a passive. KILOU is staying in the middle. He's not burying his head, but ABDVALI is just beating him to the punch on that underhook every time. Look, he's trying to push with his feet, but just not being able to get the power that ABDVALI has.
Yep, no question about the fighting spirit of KILOU. From the first whistle to the last, but there's the refereeing again by ABDVALI. Kills the clock and kills the match. Is he going to take it on superiority?
A caution in 2. He got chopped in the throat. He looked at the referee and really did a great job of showing him, hey, he hit me again, sir.
But he invested in that from the first second when he was looking at the referee. That match management.
Agreed. And you know, again, as much as it is technique, there's got to be some drama and some acting involved as well.